Zuckerberg says they're talking about discrimination and redlining, which is the practice that used to happen, still does happen, of discriminating against certain areas, zip codes, and races when it comes to housing, insurance, selling of various things.
Yeah.
And the motivations historically have been variable. On the one hand, there's just pure racism, which is I don't want to work with this color person.
Sure.
On the other hand is ensuring this neighborhood is a losing business proposition, right? So for varying reasons, redlining is illegal to do. You cannot discriminate based on the basis of zip code or race.
You can't base your insurance rates on gun violence?
You cannot. There's interesting laws, which is where discrimination, and this is kind of what I wanted to bring up. Market awareness. I don't know, like trying to sell to the market.
Well, forget race. If I'm an insurance company and I have to price insurance, I would assume that I get to ask the natural disaster rate, the violent crime rate, the homelessness rate, the vandalism rate.
So it's particular
for every neighborhood,
for everyone.
no?
But the thing that I didn't know, you can't, for instance, I don't know insurance, but the one thing they brought up is if you're a landlord, one of the things that Facebook was accused of, and they had to settle with one of these ACLUs or something like that, was they have this option on their platform where you can say the age, or you used to. They've now taken it out. And what people were doing were, for housing, they were limiting. They didn't want people above a certain age. For whatever reason, they decided the young people could pay more, were better tenants or whatever. And you could imagine this easily going the other way. I experienced this in college where it was tough as a student to get certain types of housing because they didn't want students.
Yeah.
They wanted families.
Good reason.
With great reason.
With good reason.
Which I have found out is apparently illegal. And so Facebook had to settle because they had that ability. People were using what they were using all over the platform, which is, no, I want to sell NFL stuff to men who are 25 to 40 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
maybe even older. Golf stuff to men who are 50 and above, right? So they've limited the age option heavily, and they had to settle for that. But Zuckerberg says, while they're grilling him on this, it's been against our policy to use our ad products to discriminate, which just made me go, wait a second, hold the phone. We need to have a bigger discussion. That's the entire value of your platform.
Yeah.
Is the ability to discriminate between different types of likes, dislikes,
Yeah.
ages.
If I'm selling football apparel, I only want to show it to people that have clicked like on the NFL.
You want to discriminate everyone who isn't interested in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
And so what's happened, I realize, in society
Does
is
discrimination mean only age, race, gender?
no. So this is the issue. It's that it hasn't been clearly defined, I think, legally. Now, legally, they say that you can't discriminate on the base of age, race, gender, sexual orientation. But this is a consistently expanding class of things, and trans issues have brought this up. But this idea that I think people need to come back to the word discrimination and be like, okay, we're all cool with discrimination. We're all cool with this. Like when you say, no, I don't want to go on a date with you because your reason,
height, the way your face looks.
I don't like your personality. That's a discriminatory decision.
Well, I wonder if they're not going to define it as discrimination is only for certain things. Race,
So they
age,
do.
Whatever.
They do. The problem is that there's this cultural, and Mark Zuckerberg said this as well, pretension that discrimination writ large is bad and we don't want it. But I think what he needs to say is our ad platform was designed to discriminate, but we will not discriminate on these legal categories which you've blocked us from doing.
Or what's hard and subjective is we won't discriminate negatively. But if I sell dresses...
What does negatively mean?
Here's the thing. If I sell dresses,
Yeah.
I want an ad platform that will discriminate and not show them to men.
Except some men might want dresses, right?
I guess, yeah.
So this is what's being bumped up
You know what,
against.
though? As a business, you're willing to lose those fringe customers because that is a bad bet, even if there is a certain percentage of the population.
So this is the issue that they kept coming up against, and I felt like nobody was cutting to the core of it. They were all agreeing that discrimination is bad, while not acknowledging that the reason that businesses come to Facebook is because it discriminates better than television.
Yeah.
Because you can filter down. It's better than a billboard. It's better than this. In fact, every kind of marketing that isn't marketed to every human soul on the planet is discriminatory. If I buy a billboard on one highway and not another highway, that's a discriminatory practice.
Yeah, you're going to aim on it for a neighborhood that you think is going to have more of your potential customers.
Guess what? That may or may not be predominantly white, black, Hispanic, or otherwise.
Sure.
So that could be discrimination. And I think that nobody, at least in this hearing, was acknowledging the difficulty that discrimination raises in that we're trying to allow for some discrimination, but not for discrimination that we deem to be societally unjust or not of maximum good, or even just historically we're trying to tip the scales. And nobody said this. They all just agreed that discrimination is bad, while Mark Zuckerberg sits there with an ad platform that lets you likes this, doesn't like this, does want this. And I think it's a serious problem that people are going to have to confront. So that was just the first thought that I had while watching them, is that they were really missing the entire value of the Facebook platform, is that it lets you discriminate. And I'd never thought, because when we were discriminated against, and I didn't take this personally, I'm not saying someone shouldn't, in college, and it was hard to get housing, and we had to pay extra money for housing because we were students who were more likely to be rowdy. That made sense to me.
Sure.
I didn't like it.
I had to get a guarantor when I was 21, and I had an investment banking job with plenty. My income to the rent ratio was ridiculous, but they went, "You're 21. We don't trust you. You need to get an adult to be on your." And I was like, "I am an adult. I'm 21, and I have a full-time job." They're like, "No, we won't rent to you unless 2 of the parents of you and one of your roommates sign on to pay for everything if you go defunct or whatever." I was like, "Well, this." It's definitely age discrimination.
Yeah. Well, that may be legal in certain businesses, and I'm not sure what the legality is, but it seems to me the problem is that Mark Zuckerberg has a platform, and he's not the one who's demanding this sort of honed-in targeting. It's the businesses everywhere. And if you stop, because I know my brother does this, he sells sunglasses, and it's mostly black people who buy them. They're just a brand that looks like... That's what they want.
Style they like.
It's the style that they most often like. And
he'll lose money if they force him to show it to everybody and not just the target audience.
So they didn't collect race, but what he does is he goes for look-alike audience that are still going to be predominantly black. So he searches
based on likes or activity or whatever.
So there's still this practice occurring, and it's not nefarious. It's not. He's selling sunglasses, and if
he doesn't hate white people.
If you're white and you want to buy them, you can.
He's just not trying to show you his ad.
Exactly. Yeah. So. We've missed. Okay, so you took age out. There's just going to be proxies for age. There's just going to be proxies for this.
Like Matlock.
So I think that there needs to be a bigger discussion. Facebook is merely the middleman. People came to Facebook because they had this capability, and if they lost this capability, they wouldn't go to Facebook. So they're just going to use workarounds on Facebook to get their product in front of people that they most want to sell it to or think are most likely to buy. So,
well, we've gone deep on business, but I want to transition this.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how, in general, a lot of the people asking him questions clearly have no idea what's happening?
So this was the other thing that I was stunned by. I don't know that this is true in most workplaces, but the diversity of expertise, and I would say what you might call raw intelligence in Congress, I've never really sat and watched a whole hearing, and I was stunned.
Yeah.
I don't know many workplaces where people of the same role have such a variety of backgrounds and of what I would consider raw horsepower.
Yeah.
It was shocking that they all get one vote. And I really thought, I'm curious what you think. At first I was like, oh, this is a bummer. But then I went, well, they're supposed to be representative of the American population.
Well, the one thing I thought was interesting, so why is he in front of Congress?
So he was there for Libra and Calibra, which is what he calls a payment platform where Facebook is trying to make it so that you can send money essentially via their messenger.
Yeah.
And some people were very interested in how should this be regulated? Is this a bank? Is this what is this?
Well, you're getting at what I was getting at, which is he's there to talk about his potential cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Is he becoming a bank? He's releasing a financial product. But the way Congress works, what I didn't realize, is that every person gets 5 minutes to do whatever they want. Yeah. They do not have to ask. So he's up there. He's like, hey, I'm trying to get approved for crypto.
Yeah.
And someone can sit there and go, your haircut is stupid and you're racist. And he goes, thank you, Congressman. Because what else is he going to do? Yeah. They do not have to talk about why he's there, which is fascinating.
They don't have to ask him a question. They can lecture him.
They can just yell at him.
They can lecture him.
I was like, this is really how our government approves cryptocurrencies? They just find the founder and then scream at him about random stuff and then approve it?
I don't know that this was for approval. This was for first round sort of vetting, understanding. They wanted to talk to him. And some people did, but that was so...
It's just so weird. It's like if you were at a company and you're like, I want to propose a new project. I want to propose that we expand into a different market. We go, great. Go talk to the CEO. And the CEO sits you down and goes, tell me about your dating life. And then scolds you about your dating decisions for an hour.
Yeah.
And then goes and he's still going to make a decision on your project, even though he hasn't heard anything about it. Like, that's the weird thing. These Congress people that are yelling at him are still going to go approve his crypto.
May or may not. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So there's a number of things that you brought up. The one that I don't know the answer to this. Do you want a governmental body made up of people that are higher expertise and
more intelligent
than the population, or that are representative of the population? And I actually don't know the answer to that question.
I think ideally you'd want more intelligent than the average population, but, and this is the impossible part, has the best interests of the general population in mind.
I don't know that you can get that if they don't represent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's impossible, but that's your ideal, because...
So if your ideal is that they have the best interests, then intelligence might not be the best factor to go off of, because what somebody wants is, of course, related to their station and their experiences in life.
And the station of the people they love.
Yes. And so if they're more intelligent and all their friends are more intelligent and they perceive problems as easily overcomable, you know, or we can solve this with whatever, they may not have solutions that work for the average person. It might benefit those who are more intelligent and have higher expertise.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was like, there's a genius to this system. There's an underlying, as much as it's upsetting to listen to him get grilled from somebody who truly does not understand this and is asking questions and he's answering them, but they don't understand his answers. It was fascinating.